Hello, and you are listening to the Book Was Better podcast, the podcast where we talk about the book of the film. I'm Luke.
I'm Courtney.
And this week we're talking about Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2.
Hey you, put down the popcorn and turn on the light. It's gonna be alright, my friend. In the end, take my hand. Trust me, the book was better.
Holy crap, we are back with Courtney Coulson in the house. Except you're not actually in the house this time.
No, we're recording over Skype. It's been a while since we've had to do that.
We are over the interwebs.
Yeah, this is kind of an impromptu episode, but at least we're dealing with a subject matter that we know well.
Yes, that's right. It's actually been quite a while since we dropped in on the Beverly Hills Chihuahuas. It was episode 51, and this is episode 127, if you can believe that.
Good lord, man.
I'll be surprised if these dogs are even still alive. What's the lifespan of a Chihuahua?
Like 10, 12 years? So maybe not, but they'd be very old.
10, 12 days is what I heard.
12 days, yeah.
Because of Skype, yeah. So there might be a little bit of a delay, and editing these Skype ones is a real bitch. So I'm hoping that if we mess up, and we probably will, we'll just incorporate it, make it part of the show, make a little game of it. How about that? A little game. Someone can, some sort of statistics man can decide who wins at the end of it.
Yeah, it feels like when you're watching the news and they'll cut across to someone else and on the scene.
Yeah, and they're not paying attention, they're picking their nose, they're touching themselves, they've swallowed a fly.
It is something about being separated. I don't know what it is. I can't feel your aura.
Activate our psychic twin powers.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, we've got Chihuahuas to talk about, Courtney. I've been very, very curious as to what's happening with Bimini. Do you remember Bimini, the dog who wore a bikini?
Oh, yes.
I think you had a hit song.
Yeah, I had chart topper with that one, really. Wasn't expecting that, but thanks, guys.
It's very disappointed that wasn't our entry to Eurovision this year.
I know, so close.
And Chloe and Papi.
Yes, I've only watched the trailer. I only watched the trailer of the last one, to be honest, but I feel like I had to endure hours of it.
Well, I didn't realise this when I chose this book, but this is actually a direct-to-DVD movie. So it's, let's just say it doesn't quite have the production values, cast, or scope of the first film. So if you were looking for a really amazing Chihuahua warrior adventure, not quite the case, but there are some lessons to be learnt in this thing. I actually was quite entertained, I must admit.
I actually can't believe that the first one is... I was actually missing that one. That's good. That was great. And what is this? It's just a shameful sequel.
It's a shadow of the original, but it's by Sarah Nathan. Now, we know Sarah Nathan because she's the author of Frozen, and also of Teen Beach Movie, Shake It Up Center Stage, and Game On, which is High School Musical, Stories from East High, number 13. Yeah, so if those 3 High School Musical movies weren't enough for you, if you still want to know what old, was it Troy and Gabrielle?
Yeah, and then there was like Sharpay, I think.
And Ryan.
Yeah.
And the Hoops doggy. Then you can read about all their further fan fiction-y adventures. So maybe we should do a series on them at some point.
God, it's like Glee, it just doesn't stop, and there's all these other students, and then it just keeps going after season, you don't even care anymore.
No, I will always care about my Hoops dog. So, well, speaking of real dogs, there's a segue.
Shall I read that beginning part?
Why don't we read the beginning of Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2? I'm very excited about this.
Diamonds and sequins glittered in the California sun as the A-list crowd of Beverly Hills gathered for the most talked about wedding of the season.
No one was prouder than Vivian Ash, the hostess of the wedding.
While she couldn't really take credit for the couple getting together, she had orchestrated this blissful event which was being held at her house.
Vivian, or Viv as everyone called her, used her handkerchief to wipe away her tears and caught Sam Cortez's eye.
Her landscaper looked dapper in his black tuxedo.
Across from the school stood Viv's niece, Rachel Ash.
Rachel smiled lovingly at Sam, and Viv wiped her eyes again.
I can't believe this day is here! Aunt Viv gushed, and is there no more auspicious start to a book than a woman gushing everywhere?
Oh.
And I thought we had to, 51, episode 51, quite a long time ago. So I was thinking, do we remember who any of these people actually are? So Viv is Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yeah?
No! This time... No. She's played by Susan Blakely.
Who the hell is that?
Well, she was in Stallone's Over the Top, which was the very first book was better.
Oh, wow, so real callback.
I think this is probably the first thing she's done since then. And Rachel, her niece, is Piper Perabo, right?
Yes, I'm absolutely certain of this one this time.
No! Now played by Erin Cahill.
Who the hell is that?
Everybody knows as the star of Boogeyman 3, my favourite of the Boogeyman films.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that Boogeyman 2 is kind of like a remake or sequel of the second one, and so it's better. People say Boogeyman 3 really went off into a more action direction, but personally, it's my favourite too.
My favourites are Boogeyman 3 and Boogeyman 27.
The one where he goes into space?
Oh, yes. For the 8th time. And I like Power Rangers Time Force, which Erin Cahill is also in.
Is that the one with the doctor in it?
Oh, fuck. You're asking me? I've got no idea. I'm too old for Power Rangers. I only know, the Rita Repulsa.
Or is it a DeLorean?
Very first one. Yeah, I think so. Oh, Time Force. I get it.
You see what
You're referencing time-travelling doctors, and my word, there are a few you could reference if you wanted to.
Oh, yes.
So, look, the author, who is the author? Sarah Nathan is playing with our emotions a little bit here, because intellectually, you and I would assume that Sam and Rachel are finally getting married.
Well, I mean, that's the conventional way of things.
That's, if you want it, you should put a ring on it, right? That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But
by our queen, Beyonce.
Yes. But there's an M. Night-worthy twist to this occasion.
The preacher smiled at the crowd and then looked to the bride and groom. "Won't you please join me in bringing together in marriage a much-beloved couple," he said, "Chloe and Papi."
What?
I know, what? The two chihuahuas gazed into each other's eyes, their little watery, kind of buggy eyes. Chloe looked beautiful in a gorgeous white gown, and Papi fit the part of the dashing groom in a sophisticated black tuxedo.
America, folks, this is how the 1% spend their money. Chihuahua weddings.
Actually, in reality, people do spend a sickening amount on their pets, especially pet clothes. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Personally, I mean, okay, if they're cold, that's okay. But why did my mum have to buy Bailey a little vest that says party animal?
Is he a party animal, do you think?
Does
he throw wild parties?
He's quite, the energetic little dog. He's not left to his own devices too often, because we can't trust him. He's going to throw wild parties when we're not around.
Well, I think this isn't so bad a spend, considering that I know animals don't have souls, but that's no reason to let them live in sin, in my opinion.
That's true. I remember hearing about that, because I went to, Catholic school. They talked about it quite a bit, and it's a bit depressing.
Yeah, well, how do you explain all dogs go to heaven? And it's
Man,
sequel.
You were a telepath. I was about to go there.
Yeah, very confusing. Like, you told one thing, you told another thing by somebody else. I don't know what to believe. However, relax, because the gang's all here. In the front row, 3 of Chloe and Papi's closest friends stood at full attention. Delta, a tiny poodle, was decked out in her favourite dress. Next to her was Bimini, a Yorkie, in her finest designer outfit. and Sebastian in a fancy tuxedo and a top hat was the best dressed pug at the party.
Oh god, I just realised that Bimini is, almost the same breed as Bailey, so that's weird.
It doesn't specify. It says her finest designer outfit. Do you think it was, in fact, a bikini?
Maybe. She's gone for a bit of a Rihanna thing where she shows up to, like, red carpet events in essentially her underwear. I think Bimini's that kind of dog.
I certainly disagree with the rather outrageous antics of world-renowned slut-shamer Jeremy Renner. However, I do think Bimini is a particularly slutty dog.
I don't know. Are we going to get controversy for saying this?
I might have to do an apology for saying that Bimini, the dog in the bikini, was particularly slutty. I don't know. It's just a vibe I get. I looked up to Jeremy Renner. I learned it from you.
So you just called... no, actually, that's really derailing the conversation. But he was just saying that Black Widow is a slut, jokingly, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't like Scarlett Johansson herself.
No, absolutely. And it wasn't like, look...
God, okay.
I've worked with her for a couple of films now. She might be married. She might have had a baby. But I think she's particularly slutty in the way she eats her lunch every day. She's a bit of a crossword slut in the trailer while she's waiting in between takes. And she wears some big old false eyelashes, which are slutty in my part of the world.
Yes, okay. Well, at least it wasn't that.
Speaking of sluts, what about this priest?
Do you take each other to love and honour in good times and in bad? In wet nose and in dry nose, are you shitting me?
Come on! Is this a priest or a stand-up comedian? Where is the respectful tradition that brings a man and a woman? And not a man and a woman dog. I think marriage should be reserved between a man and a woman as God intended.
Yeah, it's Adam and Eve, not... Rover and Eve. Gee.
Yeah, and no marrying butlers, because it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Jeeves.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think after reading Seventh Heaven, I've become very judgmental and conservative. I think America's won me over with its backward views.
But how insulting is this movie, though, that dogs can apparently get married in a church, and it seems pretty legit and everything, but 2 men or 2 women, you can't get married, don't be silly. These chihuahuas can.
It's an incredibly horrible double standard. A waiter placed a large piece of wedding cake on the table in front of Sebastian. "Oh, there goes my diet," the stylish pug exclaimed as he dug into the super sweet treat. Now this annoyed me, Courtney.
Why did it annoy you, Luke?
Because, like, fucking Beverly Hills, trying to change everyone. Like, if a pug can't be a pug, and by that I mean, like, fat and wrinkly, then what is the point of anything? Why can't things just be how they're supposed to be?
Pugs are beautiful. Their little squat bodies and their stumpy legs, beautiful.
I thought he was great just the way he is. Let him have a cake, for fuck's sake. It's a wedding. And speaking of sad things...
I never thought my dog would get married before me, Sam said to Rachel as they danced.
Yeah.
Well, I never thought dogs would be allowed to marry before gay people were, again.
Backward priorities in that country. But look, we mercifully skip the doggy honeymoon, although Chapter 2 does start with... A few months after the glamorous wedding, Vivian's yard was back to normal. Well, almost. Chihuahua puppies were frolicking and yapping in the playground. So this surely has to be one of the top 5 novels about dogs getting married and having sex.
Yes, next to Snoopy's autobiography and erotic fiction involving Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo and who? Fred. Gotta be.
Oh no, remember that, was it, Wacky Races, and there's the woman, and she has the little dog, I think. Oh shit. Yeah, it is a wacky race.
Penelope Pitstop.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I need to look this up now.
I don't remember her having a dog, but I'd make a pit stop in Penelope, if you know what I mean.
Because every other dog I was thinking of in the Hanna-Barbera canon are male, like,
Muttley.
yeah, like Muttley and the one in the Jetsons, so there's lots of male dogs, man.
Well, they won't be able to get married, but that doesn't mean they can't have a mess around. Who do you think Snoopy would marry then, come to think of it? Woodstock?
Oh yeah, that's true. There are hardly any other dogs in that comic ever. And I did read a lot of those as a kid. No, Penelope Pitstop did not have a dog. I must be thinking of something else.
You heard it here first, listeners. Penelope Pitstop did not have a dog. But look, these puppies are totally the kind of characters that I feel like Americans just adore writing about. You know, they're arrogant, conceited, they're foolhardy, they're loudmouths.
Totally rebellious and what's the other word?
Radical, but not radical in a terrorist extreme Muslim
No,
way.
just like 90s radical
More like,
kind of way.
They're totally radical, dude.
They're rad. Yeah. I don't know what it was, especially when I was growing up in the 90s, there were a lot of those kind of really obnoxious American characters, and they were supposed to be the cool ones. Ooh, smart people, that's gross.
Geronimo! A small, tough-looking puppy named Ali shouted as she went... Probably Ali. Shouted as she went down the slide. Another
she's
Chihuahua
named after
puppy,
Muhammad Ali.
Yes. Who was wearing a pink bow on her head, stood at the top of the slide.
So that you know it's the girl one.
Oh, pink bow, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're all girls except for one. Watch and see how it's done, everyone, she called. Fuck you, I'm not watching anything.
It's such a typical sequel move where it's like, oh, well, you had these characters and now here's the babies of that character.
And there's 5 of them.
Good lord.
Ali, Rosa.
Do you think she ate one of them?
Yeah, possibly. I think 3 were stillborn. Pep, Lala, and Papi Jr.
And what's the deal with juniors? I actually know some people in real life who are, something junior. That must be so confusing when you're at home, you call out a name, Papi, which one? Ugh. And I just think it's kind of an egotistical thing, really.
The only junior that I admire is the Whopper Jr.
Do they call them that in America? I don't, because we've got Hungry Jacks, so I just assumed all the other names had to be changed as well.
Well, Burger King's got the Whopper.
Oh, okay. Do you know why it's called Hungry Jacks?
Why it's called Hungry Jack? I think the franchise was bought here by a guy named Jack.
Well, what happened was, when Burger King tried to come to Australia, there was a single shop in, I think, somewhere on the East Coast, Melbourne, I think, which was already called Burger King.
Right.
And for some reason, they couldn't buy this shop. The guy would not sell the name. He's like, no, this is my Burger King. So they had to change it. Why they eventually decided on Hungry Jacks is beyond me.
Well, I think that's because the guy was called Jack. But do you reckon that there was this whole Game of Thrones kind of thing to see who would be the Burger King? Like lots of backstabbing and incest and intrigue and to try and get to the Rissole throne.
Oh my god, someone needs to edit some Game of Thrones footage and put the Burger King guy in there. Oh yes.
Anyway, these puppies.
Well, okay, so the Burger King, I'm assuming, that would be like the Targaryens, because I'm backing
Right.
Daenerys, of course.
Yep, sure.
And then the Lannisters would be McDonald's. And who would the Starks be?
KFC.
Probably. And there's all the other fallen ones like Pizza Hut. I think we were talking, or not me personally, but on Book Was Better we were talking about Pizza Hut and how they kind of don't exist anymore.
Yes, we've been talking about fast food a lot. I'm going to talk about these puppies.
Well, that's the Starks. That's the Starks right there. The building might be there, but they're not there anymore.
That's true. Someone else is in it. A faster pasta. Theon is the faster pasta.
This has gone too far.
Game of Burger Thrones. All right, puppies, Courtney. Focus on the fucking puppies.
How am I not able to focus on puppies?
Well, the problem is they have too many people problems. Not puppy problems, people problems.
I know. It's not like, you're sleeping and then your owner starts to vacuum and you're scared and you don't know where to go because it just seems like it's following you. No, not those kind of problems. Like, people problems. Like, paying mortgage and stuff.
They get told off by Chloe, their mother, because she wanted them clean and dressed. And she says that if they don't clean up, she says...
Oh, crap. I've scrolled down when I wasn't paying attention.
She says, bath now, or no bacon-wrapped filet mignon for dessert, she told them.
What is filet mignon, and also why are dogs eating it?
And why is it bacon-wrapped? And who's making this food? Like, this is what I have the question. Either Chloe is bacon-wrapping filet mignon and cooking it herself, which is difficult because it's a tiny
little
chihuahua.
paws, yeah.
Yeah. Or there is a chef that is doing it for them. And if the chef is doing it for them, which is the more realistic situation in this mansion they're living in, then how does the dog communicate that her puppies were not dressed and washed in time, therefore they cannot have any?
More questions than answers.
Absolutely. So, they were in a playground, right? They were on a slide. But I guess that was at home at the mansion because now they're getting ready to go to the dog park. So from one park to another park. And father, Papi, is kind of homophobic.
Wait, doesn't Papi kind of mean dad as well?
I believe so. So this was the role he was
Papi is Papa.
destined to play.
Yeah.
Do you know where you are yet?
This is so embarrassing. I look ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, I'm reading it.
Yeah, you're doing great. Keep going.
Alright, yeah. This is so embarrassing. I look ridiculous, Papi Jr. grumbled. He slowly came out of the vase, sulking. Papi gasped. I'm just assuming they all have the same voice as him. Anyway, Papi gasped as he turned in the blue and white sailor outfit, complete with a hat, large collar, and little booties. Papi turned to Chloe. No way, no son of mine is wearing clothes like that.
No son of mine is wearing clothes like that. Now look. There's nothing ridiculous or effeminate or anything like that about a sailor outfit. Sailors are very noble, manly men.
And it's traditional clothing for children, so what's the problem, Papi?
Hasn't he ever heard that in the Navy song? I can't think of a more rousing, manly ballad. When you're out on the high seas, hoisting your mast up into a crow's nest.
Yeah. Nothing sus.
Nothing sus at all. And at the dog park, of course, all the dogs have diamond collars and butlers and maids. So basically, this is the author, this is Disney going, hey kids, read about dogs who have far more money than you ever will.
Yeah, I'm just trying to... Actually, throughout this entire thing, I've been thinking, who is the target audience for this? Okay, children. Do children really want to see dogs doing all these sort of things? It's just...
Apparently,
crap.
Yes. That's right. This place is very exclusive, Chloe said to her pups. She surveyed the park and spotted her friends, Sebastian, Delta, and Bimini. Well, it can't be that exclusive then if they let Bimini in, let me tell you.
Oh, we're so mean to Bimini.
Oh, that dog is a loose cannon. And look, there's some real cultural tension here as Papi digs at the ground and gets a snobby French poodle dirty. And I feel like the message is, hey, this is America, you frog fuck. Back off! Hashtag freedom fries. And Colleen Mansfield owns the French dog, whose full name is Mademoiselle Marie Apolline Bouvier. And she boasts about how she's a prize-winning show dog and basically suggests that the ethnic Sam shouldn't be in this exclusive park with his crappy dogs. And I'm thinking maybe this is going to be important later because we're nearly a quarter of a way into this book and I'm really hoping there's some sort of plot coming.
Also, that is such a cliche thing of, oh, our purebred dogs are better than your mongrel dogs. I'm not saying that's referring to anything, but racial purity, guys, is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. Also, purebred dogs are kind of inbred. Just putting it out there.
Well, let's see how these underdogs go as this story continues. Papi puts his puppies to sleep, but not to sleep, unfortunately. And after grossing them out by reminiscing about sexy times with Chloe.
Your mother is everything to me. I remember the first time we rubbed noses, Papi sighed, losing himself in the memory.
I remember when I sniffed her butt and ate some of her vomit. And he then goes on to tell them the story of the ancient Chihuahuas.
Have you seen dogs do that?
Hump each other's faces.
Yes! They seem to not know which direction to come at. I've seen dogs do... Well, it's a dominance thing, mostly. If they're doing it over the tail or over the head, that it's a dominance thing, it's not for sex. But still, to a human, that's hilarious.
It's foreplay, Courtney. So he tells them the story of the ancient Chihuahuas that carried important messages through the tunnels of temples. And sometimes these messages were messages of love. So I thought maybe this will be important later. Like maybe one of these Chihuahuas will deliver an important message of love. Turns out it's not important, so you can forget about that.
A lot of this goes nowhere.
Chloe gets out of the tub. She was just soaking in the tub. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. To discover...
Chloe hopped out of the tub, and together the couple went to check on their puppies. But things were not as Papi had expected. There were feathers flying everywhere. All the puppies were wide awake and digging in their bed. What is going on in here? Chloe cried out. We're digging tunnels to carry out messages of love, Ali explained.
Easy to blame the parents in this situation, but let's not forget Sam, the idiot human who is supposed to be taking care of these dogs and all this mess.
Yeah, I've not seen this movie, so all of this sounds precisely insane. Like, I'm just imagining they've got their own little house, which is connected to Vivian's house, and it's just totally unsupervised. And it's like a dollhouse.
And then I swear to God, the Chihuahua husband and wife have a domestic argument. So, anyway, Sam...
A domestic argument between dogs. I mean, does that involve actual biting and stuff, or do they actually just talking it out? I can't imagine these little dogs.
I thought they were very mature about it, to be honest. They did talk it out. But
no humping the head.
No head humping to prove dominance. Just talking and listening. Listening's more important than talking in a lot of those instances. So Sam takes all the dogs on a trip away from their Beverly Hills luxury and to his old family home, where they can see where the vagrant puppy grew up. Come inside, I have food, Mrs. Cortez said warmly. That's why I come home, Mom. I miss your tamales, Sam said with a smile. That sounds like a euphemism to me, but I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not 100% sure.
Hot tamales.
And they meet Papi's brother, Pedro, who is a terrier. So they're not real brothers, but they grew up on the streets together, and...
That doesn't make our brotherhood any less real, kids, Pedro told them. Family is about who you love, not just who you were born to.
A message about family delivered with the sledgehammer subtlety of a Fast and Furious movie. I thought Vin Diesel was in the room for a second there.
Oh.
But there is trouble, Courtney. There's trouble in the Cortez house.
Oh, Sam, it was awful, Mrs. Cortez said, shaking her head. These men from the bank, they came in here and said they're taking the house. But how is that possible? Sam asked, shocked. I haven't been able to make the mortgage payments, Mr. Cortez confessed.
Okay, this is America, people. There's no bailouts. You pay your bills or you get the fuck out. Like, are they socialists? I think, Courtney, that these puppies are going to learn some valuable lessons about fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, so we don't actually go into why they can't make those payments or what the whole situation is. Not just... We just can't just magically count. No, there's nothing we can do.
I think the business is sort of failing a bit. But, you know, that's capitalism. Sometimes it works and you become Donald Trump. Sometimes it fails and you become Pauly Shore. It's like you just don't know what's going to happen. Inside, Mr. Cortez saw fear in his son's eyes. Don't worry, the Cortezes have always pulled themselves up, he said, trying to reassure his son. No, wait, I mean... The Cortezes have always pulled themselves off. You should be worried.
This is a...
It's bleak.
When I was reading... It's bleak, yeah! And when I was reading, I'm thinking, wait, isn't this about the dogs? Wait, the dogs can't pay their mortgage? Because, we just had that scene with with their family in their own little house. So I was still in that mode going, wait, the dogs can't or the people can't?
Yeah, well, if something isn't done, the Cortez family are going to have to share a tiny apartment with family in Arizona, and Papi will be split up with his brother Pedro, who he doesn't live with anyway, and who'll be sent off to a farm. And I just think, well, welcome to adult human life, dogs. Deal with it. That's what happens in life.
The last movie, it did get really dark. It got too real, man. But at least it was still about dogs and dog issues, like dog fighting and all that sort of stuff. I mean, those are real things. Whereas dogs being split up because the owners can't pay the mortgage, okay.
Yeah, it was more of an adventure, whereas this one's more like a commentary on the recession.
Apparently.
And Papi tells another bedtime story about Chihuahua warriors, which leads to even more destruction of property, because they get all riled up. So, hey kids, here's a story about characters that absolutely refuse to learn.
Actually, that's probably the only thing I did learn from Beverly Hills Chihuahua, is that Chihuahuas were warrior dogs. They were actually used in battle. The Aztec people were quite short, but surely not that short that is considered a war dog. Really?
They would rip into people's Achilles' heels.
Apparently. I'm just trying to imagine a vicious Chihuahua. It's not happening.
And look, little Papi Jr., when all these unsupervised shenanigans are going on...
I hate him the most.
He falls out the window, but is caught by... You're not going to believe who he's caught by.
Let's go see.
Chloe couldn't believe her eyes or her son's good luck. Delgado, she cried. She had not seen her good friend in a long time. She had met the German Shepherd in Mexico, and he had been a true friend when she was lost and alone there. I was just in the neighborhood, Delgado said humbly. Dog ex machina!
Yeah, sure, why not? He just shows up and saves that puppy that I hate, yeah.
Do you remember Delgado?
Yeah, he was the German Shepherd who lost his sense of smell tragically and couldn't be on the force anymore.
Partner was shot or something, but it turned out like his kind of impotence issues with his nose were just like psychosomatic, weren't they? And then he got his confidence back and he could smell again.
He's doing a bit of a John Watson, yeah.
His nostrils just started to flare and all this like hope poured out of them.
I actually think he was one of the better parts of the last movie. Here's hoping he improves the story somewhat.
Well, look, even Sam has a hard time believing that Delgado should be here.
Sam stood up and looked at Delgado amazed. How did you get all the way from Mexico? He asked. I better call your partner, Detective Ramirez, and find out what's up.
And it turns out Delgado is here on a secret police assignment, which I hope means that he's here to drag those non-paying Cortez bums out of their homes with his teeth. And, look, here's more sound advice.
Just follow your heart, Pedro advised. It will show you what to do.
So basically, the message is do whatever the hell you feel like and don't let your brain get in the way.
Yeah, you can apply that to everything in life. You want to be a doctor? You don't have to do years of training. No, follow your heart. You'll know exactly what to do.
Especially if you're a heart surgeon.
Heart surgeon, yeah. Your heart communicating with that heart, magic's gonna happen, right? That's how it works in reality.
Speaking of awesome jobs, they have a meeting with the bank manager, and
if you're blind, follow your heart.
And it's really not looking good. What are we going to do? Sam asked, shaking his head. Papi leapt into Sam's lap. Why don't you try begging, Sam? He suggested. It works when I want your burrito. Is that another euphemism? And is this family going to be reduced to being filthy beggars? Is that where the story's going?
This is Disney, right? Where everything's all nice and happy all the time. No. Strangely, these Chihuahua movies get serious. I'm really surprised by that.
didn't just miss one payment, Courtney. They owe $40,000. Like, how did Mr. Cortez not mention it until it got that bad? And shit, like, this is the
Hookers and
thing.
blow.
Even if they get the money by the end of the month, which is the deadline they're given, how are they going to start miraculously paying off their mortgage after that? They've already proven that their business cannot sustain them in a way which enables them to live in this house. So even if they get the bailout, they're not going to learn anything. You know what I mean? Fucking crazy.
Just like my dad.
And look, holy crap, doggy drama. Delgado takes Chloe to meet two German shepherds at the police station, but they're very aggressive to him because they are his bastard sons.
They're Snows.
They are Snows.
Who is talking there?
They're Delgado.
Oh no, it's Delgado, yeah. I thought with you by my side I'd have the strength to face my boys and tell them the truth, he told her. The strength? The truth about what? Chloe asked, even more confused. Forget it. I can't change my past now, Delgado said and walked away.
Now this has got to be a first. Our first deadbeat dog dad. In fact, what about that? Disney's Deadbeat Dog Dads. There's a franchise.
Deadbeat dog dads.
Disney's Deadbeat Dog Dads.
Yeah, it's gonna have this jingle like DuckTales and
Deadbeats. Uh-oh. Bum, bum. And speaking of deadbeats, I'm doing all the segues today. Sam phones Rachel in the rainforest, and Rachel suggests asking Aunt Viv to lend the money. But Sam is too proud. And again, what kind of an investment would that be? Why would you lend $40,000 to people who have no hope of continuing to pay their mortgage after your bailout, and certainly no hope of ever paying your loan back? Like, what kind of financial advice are we teaching these puppies?
I know. What is this movie trying to do? You know, misinform a generation of children about dogs and financial problems?
Yes. And in seeing how it's not really their house because they didn't pay for it, the bank sends around inspectors to look at what is essentially their house. And these poor people, these inspectors, are just doing their job, and the dogs decide to attack them for it.
It's kind of like in Ghostbusters, you know, what are they, like the city council, basically? And they're just trying to do their job, and they're right, but Bill Murray just attacks them for it.
Give me back my tape, the woman screamed at Puppy Jr. She tried to wrestle it away from him. Just then, Puppy Jr. let go of the tape. It snapped back and hit the woman in the face. So we've got some jobless squatters inflicting physical violence on some gainfully employed go-getters. Hitting a woman too, I should say. And then, look, these dogs even literally piss all over the paperwork. So the bank guy has no choice but to officially evict them. And I just think they're lucky this wasn't Texas, because he would have just shot them.
You know, this is reminding me of I can't specifically name some right now, but movies and TV shows I watched as a kid where the bad guy was, you know, some kind of government official or something like that, and you go, yeah, they're the bad guy. And you watch it as an adult and you go, no, actually, they have their point. They're just doing their job.
Yeah, like, they did not pay for this house. Somebody is losing money because Mr. Cortez cannot get his shit together. And look, I bought the ebook, but there was still a photo section, which was a really pleasant surprise. And it's basically photos of a bunch of dogs who know even less about what's going on in this movie than I do. I love that. I love that, you know, you literally have stars in a film that would much rather just be, like, licking their own balls than being in the film. I mean, I know, like, maybe Johnny Depp gives that impression in some of the later Pirates movies.
Certainly. Or any of his movies lately.
Mordecai is just him licking his balls for about an hour and a half.
Oh god, I'm not looking forward to that. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, should I mention that here?
If you like.
Yeah, just put a little reference to it. Yeah, I am going to be doing a Paul Bettany podcast, much like ScarJo a Go-Go. It's tentatively titled Paul Betts a Go-Gets for now. Might
about
not
the
pursue.
Old P. Betty. And look, just a sage bit of advice from an old man that's done one of these.
Yes.
It was hard finding an audience with Scarlett Johansson fans Paul Bettany fans, man, that's going to be an oasis in the desert, right?
Yes, I have no idea what I'm doing in terms of actually finding an audience. I'm just gonna put it out there, see what happens.
Well, the work does come first, and keep everyone informed. We'll let you know through here and through the Facebook page when this is all happening. So
yeah, I've already got the first few episodes sort of planned out, so yeah, I should have that out soon enough.
So if you like P. Betty, if you need something in the break between ScarJo, maybe get some P. Betty up in your piece. Look.
But yeah, I'm not looking forward to Mordecai or Transcendence, both Johnny Depp movies that he is in.
Yeah, you've got some shit to get through. And look, then to add insult to injury, Sam takes his parents. This is very insensitive. He takes them back to Aunt Viv's mansion so that they can see how decadently the 1% live.
Okay, so Sam tried to make some conversation with his parents. This place is something, huh, Ma? He said, attempting to lighten the mood at the table. Even the doghouse is bigger than our place.
And it smells less like shit. Alright, so it turns out that the freedom-threatening French poodle from before, you remember her?
Yeah, poodles are always evil.
Yes, she's going to compete in a dog show, and the prize is a very convenient $50,000, which would pay off the debt and keep the family going for maybe, another couple of months before the whole cycle started again?
Yes, keep them going with false hope. So yeah, you got $40,000 and just a little extra to give you a bit of false hope for your future.
And if our hero dogs do win the prize, then all will be temporarily solved. And do you know how we learn all this?
Because the dog reads it in a newspaper.
That's right, these dogs can now read. I really am picturing, I didn't watch the movie either, but I do think they live in a little doll's house and pretend they're people.
And, God. You know what, though? The best part about dog acting, though, is when the eyes just sort of wander around, especially with Chihuahua eyes. I'm just imagining, they just sort of half close sometimes, and I don't know why they do that. Maybe I should have watched this.
Not particularly invested in the proceedings. I did watch the trailer. And look, it's only a page later, we're at the actual dog show, where the snobby registration man is as incredulous as we are that Sam is entering these totally shithouse dogs. And the French poodle, of course, is a broad stereotype.
What, with the bad French accent that doesn't even sound French?
Oui.
Oh, goodness. Just then, Apolline spotted Papi. Apolline is weird. Anyway, Papi and recognized the dog from the park. Ew, she howled. Do I smell garbage? No, it is the peasant dogs.
And Papi
I couldn't help it, I'm sorry.
With typical charm. We're the ones that smell, he asked. You know there's a reason poodle starts with the word poo. Except, of course, that in this instance, Apolline's claims are justified and Papi's claims are baseless and just kind of rude.
Yeah, it's basically, it's the equivalent of, yeah, well, so's your face.
You are a shithead. Actually, in the trailer, he says to her something like, Did you notice that somebody shaved your hiney?
I did see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's quite the question. And this dog show is being broadcast on live television, of course, because who in their right mind would want to miss this? And the puppies and Sebastian and Bimini and Delta all watch from the mansion. And the hosts of the show are so gross.
Doesn't the dogs do anything? Her three friends are always just there. They don't have lives outside of hers, apparently.
They're moochers. Give us a bit of gross host action.
And we're off with the first round. Beauty, Sterling announced. Let's see those Beverly Hills dogs strut their stuff. Yowza.
Yowza, indeed. And even Pedro, who is a total garbage dog, has been entered. Loud pop music filled the ballroom, and the dogs entered in wild costumes and hairstyles. Pedro was dressed as a big flower. He strutted across the floor, and the audience applauded. You like me? You really like me, Pedro cried, his eyes sparkling.
No, that's just his little chihuahua eyes that are watering.
And how is the hypocrisy here, too? Like, Papi did not want his son dressed as a sailor, but he's totally happy for his brother to be dressed as a flower.
Hypocrite.
And what about Chloe? What about his wife?
Chloe was up next. She knew that she had this style part nailed. Mrs. Cortez walked on stage, pulling Chloe in a wagon that was decorated like a cloud. Chloe was wearing shimmering wings and a halo. She was a truly angelic vision, except dogs don't go to heaven.
America always got to bring religion into it. Have you seen Drop Dead Gorgeous?
No.
Because Denise Richards plays the religious girl, and she does the beauty pageant thing at the end with a nailed to a cross with Jesus. Dancing with Jesus, who's on a crucifix. It's pretty great.
Very tasteful.
Speaking of talents, here is the talent section.
Apolline dipped her paws in paint and created a painting that looked like it belonged in a museum.
But not an art gallery, apparently.
No,
that's
anything to get an Indiana Jones reference in there, author whose name I have forgotten.
And that gross host says...
That Apolline is a regular pet Picasso, Sterling joked.
Fuck you. And Chloe plays a song on the piano, and Papi lays rose petals in front of her in the shape of a heart. But I'm just thinking, like, these judges know that the dogs can read? Like, that's a big enough talent for me. They can cook a filet mignon with bacon wrapped around it. That's what they should have gone with.
Yeah, so how do you prove that a dog can read? Oh, now I'm thinking about it.
You could ask them questions, yes or no questions about the text, and they could bark 1 or 2 times.
Like the horse that can do math by stamping its hooves.
Yeah. Comprehension test. Papi and Apolline are the finalists, but Papi is a stray, so without breeding papers, he is in breach of the competition rules.
Realizing that the microphone was on, Sam picked it up and spoke directly to the audience. He might not have breeding papers or be a pedigree, but you'll never meet a dog that shows more heart than Papi.
That is a spurious defense at best. I don't think that's going to get the rules bent. And it doesn't. Papi is disqualified and Apolline wins, but the audience are booing because I guess they really fucking love heart. We may not have won the prize, but we have each other, Sam told her. Then he went to rejoin his family, who beamed at him proudly, and they might have to eat each other if these financial woes continue. Things are not looking good for the Cortezes.
Yeah, that is a bit of a twist, because usually in these movies it's such a trope that, you might be the underdog, no pun intended, but you can win this just because you have heart. It doesn't matter if you try. Screw those people or dogs that actually work hard at something. They're probably jerks because they're talented. If you're mediocre in life, it doesn't matter because you've got what they don't, buddy, and that's heart. You'll just win everything if you follow your heart.
Hey, it's Luke just inserting something. The file went all skew-whiff here. I sounded like a transformer. I lost a bit of the audio. So, what you missed is essentially Sam broke up with Rachel over the phone, said he didn't want to marry her because he was worried he couldn't look after himself, and Delgado told his sad story about why he left his sons, and basically he busted some bad guy dogs, or some bad guys and their bad dogs, and the bad dog said, "We're gonna hurt your puppies, Delgado." So Delgado moved them away from him, moved them to California, and then lost track of them. So that's what happened, and then Courtney comments like this.
Yeah, so the bad guys were so bad that even their dogs were bad, and those dogs are somehow able to track down the other dog and attack them in their own homes where there are human owners, presumably, and a fence in the way.
And what I thought about Americans were that they were brave and they protected their family. This is
brave and free, the land of those things.
A coward's move. He ran away from the problem, and I don't appreciate that. These colours don't run, in my opinion. And so the puppies overheard Delgado's story, so they run away and find Delgado's sons. But the sons are chasing down a group of bank robbers, so the puppies end up chasing after them as well.
So are these dogs adult dogs, or they're just puppies as well?
I think they're adolescents.
Okay, because that would be ridiculous. You got these little German Shepherd puppies.
Yes, it would. And on the mansion...
That would be too far in this movie.
That's where I would say, look, you had me with the filet mignon, all that sort of stuff, but no. These are too young to work on the force. I'm not buying it. And on the mansion TV back at home, Sam and the Cortezes see a live report that the bank is being robbed and that the robbers are inside with hostages, and they think they see the puppies run past as well, and I can see where this is going already. The puppies get all mixed up in this robbery crap.
The puppies all dove inside the bags to get the cash. Just at that moment, one of the robbers popped out of the manhole. He took off his mask and looked over at the bank, which was surrounded by police. "Good work in there, boys," he said to these cohorts. "Let's move out."
So the puppies are with the crooks, and now Delgado has to approach his sons to get them to help track them. And they have one clue, which is the discarded robber mask, which smells like pepperoni. And you like a detective story, Courtney. We've done a few detective stories.
Oh, crime fiction is my my passion.
Well, I think this is the greatest bit of detective work ever committed to paper. Alberto came over and sniffed the clue. "Pepperoni," he said, thinking. "Of course," Antonio cried as he remembered something. "There's a pizza factory not far from here." So these crooks, probably Italians...
So wait, are these are the dogs smelling the pepperoni smell?
Yeah. Antonio and Alberto are the sons, the German Shepherd sons. And these crooks... So
they're basically Inspector Rex?
Yes.
Oh, what a rip-off.
Think about these robbers. They must have been cooking pizza this morning, nothing like a breakfast pizza before you go out, while wearing their robber masks.
Or maybe they were doing pepperoni facials, so instead of cucumbers over the eyes, pepperoni.
Maybe they were just chewing pepperoni, like chewing tobacco.
They're broad Italian stereotypes.
Maybe they were brushing their teeth with pepperoni.
But isn't it so cliche to have a bank robbery? Those sort of things that show up in kids' movies a lot, but they don't happen in reality or anywhere else, really. Like, why would you rob a bank? That's the dumbest place to rob.
Especially if you own a pizza factory. I reckon you've got everything you need already.
You've already got your life sorted, guys.
So Pedro shows up to hassle the crooks first, and then Papi Jr. escapes from the cash bag because he's a boy, and therefore is very capable. But of course...
The crooks quickly scooped up the 3 bags of money with Papi Jr.'s sisters inside. "Help!" the girl puppies cried.
Girls always need rescuing.
Isn't that ridiculous that even when these are animals, dogs, male and female dogs don't look different other than, between the legs, and yet we're still putting these human gender biases on animals.
Come on, Disney. And Chloe and Delgado are hiding, and they trip a crook with a string of pepperoni. And the crook hilariously falls into a vat of tomato sauce. Other 2 crooks are pelted with tomatoes. And I was a bit upset because I thought this was all food that the Cortez family could probably do with.
Totally wasteful. It's like that scene in Shazam where he wishes for... like a room full of junk food. And of course he only eats some fries, a burger, he's done. That rest of that food could be given to so many people. I don't think these things through.
No, very wasteful. A vat of gooey pizza dough was dumped on the 2 men. I have a feeling this isn't exactly what these guys had in mind when they thought they'd be rolling in the dough, Papi said, laughing at his own joke. And Delgado is reunited with his sons, and the American police force decide to call the Mexican police force to see if they can keep him for a bit, because I guess that happens all the time, right?
Okay.
Something that police like to deal with. And then the Cortex family are moving out. Pedro is going to the farm, but don't worry because...
He's not really going anywhere, kids, because when you love someone, they are always with you in your heart, Papi said to his children.
If that excuse worked, wouldn't people use it all the time? Like, I'm leaving you kids to shack up with a younger, sexier woman, but I'll always be in your hearts, right? So I'm not really going anywhere. Bye!
Just like my dad.
Again. And, of course, the bank manager turns up, and he rewards the family with $50,000. And, think about this. He does this because a bunch of puppies they own got accidentally kidnapped and covered some crooks in pizza sauce. So, this bank is so glad they didn't get their money stolen that they're giving $50,000 of magical money from somewhere. I mean, somebody owns this money, right? To a family.
Banks don't. That money belongs to other people. Yeah. They don't just hoard all the money to themselves and occasionally give it to you when you ask for it.
So they're like, you saved us some money, so we're going to give you $50,000 because you happen to own some dogs that got caught in a bag.
So the message here is you try to turn your situation around, entering a dog contest, you made little costumes for these little animals. But, no, it turns out just bad pet ownership, ergo, for example, letting your dogs just wander around freely and catching some robbers. That's how you fix a situation. Depend on your pets to get you out of shit.
The Cortezes had a shitty business. They need help with their business. That's what they need. If they really wanted to help the Cortezes, teach them how to friggin' budget. You know what I mean? This is one of those classic situations. They needed to be taught how to fish, and the bank gave them a fish. What happens when the fish is gone? Don't give them fish. Fuck.
God.
And now all Sam needs to do, of course, is patch things up with Rachel, who conveniently walks through the door right at that very moment.
Sam turned to Rachel. "I'm so sorry, Rachel," he told her. "No, I'm sorry. I hated the way we left things. I want to be with you whether we're married or not."
Well, that was incredibly easy to solve, and Sam proposes, of course. Aunt Viv pops her hideous head in to say that she'll pay for the wedding, because the Cortezes will no doubt be deep in debt and back on the street by the time the ceremony rolls around. And this is the ending. Once again, Viv's backyard was the perfect location for a celebration. Music filled the air, and guests were all enjoying a feast of fajitas and
quesadillas.
Everyone was dancing and having a great time. On the dance floor, Mr. and Mrs. Cortez spun in circles next to Sam and Rachel.
Aunt Viv danced around holding Papi Jr. He licked her face and enjoyed the love and attention.
In the pool, Pedro had his eyes closed on a raft, playing Barco Polo with the puppies. Papi and Chloe watched the action from the back porch and smiled.
"Shall we join the fun?" Chloe asked Papi. She moved toward the yard.
"My sweet, be careful, the mud," Papi warned as he spied a little puddle of mud in front of her.
So Papi ran to the house and quickly dashed back with a towel in his mouth, rather than just walking around it.
Yes.
He placed the towel down on the puddle so Chloe could walk over it.
"Oh, Papi, you're so romantic," Chloe said, swooning.
"But of course, after all, I am a Chihuahua," Papi replied.
"Don't I know it," Chloe said, smiling.
And together they raced off to join their happy family. It was a time to celebrate and violently vomit in disgust.
Thank God we finally established, though, that the main character in Beverly Hills Chihuahua is indeed a Chihuahua.
I now hate the entire breed.
And why were they on the porch when everybody else was having fun and partying and then, had been wedding?
Yeah.
For quite some time. Surely the prize dogs would have been there right from the beginning. It makes no sense. Don't like it. Got to ask you, was the book better than the film that we have not watched?
We've not watched.
We'll just guess.
God, I would say it is better because we don't have to deal with obnoxiously bright colours and loud sounds and even worse dialogue delivered by poorly animated dog mouths. So yes, the book is better.
I'm going to agree with you. Let's side with the book. And look, there's a couple of Amazon reviews I'd like to read to you, Courtney.
I was also going to say that weirdly this movie or book touches upon some real world things that I myself has experienced. It's sort of weird.
The dogs had the things that you experienced?
Yeah, like, oh, you have to move house and the money issues. Like, really? So, I'm reading about some dogs and I'm reminded of real world problems.
And you did, quite famously, thwart that bank robbery using pizza sauce.
Yes.
It was in all the papers.
But isn't that so weird, though? All these spooky little connections to my own life.
Yeah.
And it's a stupid Chihuahua movie.
Beverly Hills, Courtney Chihuahua.
Cops. Yeah, and even the dad having a shitty business that fails. I can relate.
It was a very good story, actually. It was a story of our times, which is what I liked about it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, because on one hand, it's kind of inappropriate for a dog movie aimed at kids, but at the same time, it is a realistic story. I don't know where I stand.
I thought it was excellent. I think it's the best story we've ever read, and I think we just end the podcast here, because
we cannot up it.
Why continue? But look, while you're coming to terms with how you're feeling about it, here's how some people felt about it on Amazon. They had a dog wedding. Then they have birth to puppies. I love how the dogs could talk, but the humans couldn't hear them. I like the puppies and their imagination. The whole dog family went into a fashion show. It was well written. Wrong.
What is their definition of well written?
And what about this one? Beverly Hills Chihuahua is a fantastic book, especially it teaches more about fashion. Reading it was like watching the movie all over again. I expect everyone to buy or read this book.
Everyone.
I expect everyone to buy or read this book, or I'm coming for you. Did it teach you? You're very fashionable. Did it teach you much about fashion?
Not well. Actually, you don't often see dogs' costumes in movies, so I'll give it points for that. Honestly, there were some good dog costumes.
I will give it 200 points, and then finally,
to Gryffindor.
I'll read this exactly as it is. Loved it. It was awesome. 2 best book ever. It was spectacular. I thought it was supper to be like the movie. Supper.
Oh dear Lord.
I thought it was supper to be like the movie too. Very, very well said. And there we go. That is Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2, and there is a third one. So that's something we can look forward to in the future, maybe in another 70-odd episodes. We might revisit Papi and Chloe.
This is my High School Musical franchise, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it. Well, you've done so many ones about things that you like detectives and vampires. I thought it was time to break out and do some old school. Some old school BWB with the Courtney Coulson. So
that's true. I normally get a lot of freedom, and every once in a while I have to have pain inflicted upon me.
That is true. You got to mix it up. Can't give you special treatment. And thanks everybody for listening. Please listen to the other shows, which is FP Cast every Monday. It's a pop culture podcast. ScarJo A Go-Go is on hiatus until Age of Ultron comes out on Blu-ray, but you can certainly go through the backlog if you want to hear those. And I do want to announce...
We'll both be reviewing that.
Yes, and I do want to announce...
That's exciting.
Quite specially... that on Patreon, for our Patreon subscribers, the first episode of Book Was Better TV is up. And yes, you are distracting me by writing Am I Distracting You in the Google Doc. The first episode of Book Was Better TV is available for those who subscribe at patreon.com/Fruitless Pursuit, and it is an episode where Jacinta and I read a bit of fan fiction of Seventh Heaven, a book called Driving Me Crazy, and it's a lot of fun. So subscribe and you can have a listen. You know what I reckon you should call your Paul Bettany podcast?
What should I call it?
Paul Bets Are Off.
Oh, yes. That's actually quite good.
Paul Bets Are Off. There we go. I have toyed with, doing another series on somebody else, but man, it feels nice to just have a little bit of a break. But maybe. I did like your idea that Charlize Theron would be a bit of a gold mine there.
Yeah, God, there are so many great movies to choose from there and to talk about. And, I mean, who doesn't love her?
I'll call it Charlize, please. Thanks, bye. Charlize, please, Kay, thanks, bye.
Yeah. That was kind of where my mind was going. I don't know why. Is it just the Z in her name?
Yeah.
Thinking out loud of titles, guys. That's fun.
I think the listeners would like to hear us thinking out loud for a bit. This is what I'm thinking. Alright, we should go. Thanks, Courtney. And you can say the thing.
Oh, catch you on the flip.
Emoji.